Well, this one took forever. This video has been one of the very first I ever announced on my channel, and now look how long it took me to really get it done. So let's not waste any more time. Hello out there, this is TheAnYPony and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Past Sins, written by PenStroke with the assistance of Betty Gloom. If you have seen my original About the Channel video, now renamed to the more appropriate title, an homage to Past Sins, you might already have a good idea how this particular piece of literature affected me. The dramatic reading by Buddhist Svenyos was pretty much what got me into fanfiction in the first place. Now let's find out if Past Sins may be something for you as well. To start with the obvious, this story is another big one, 22 chapters including the prelude, over 200,000 words after the last revision. To put this number into perspective, the only Harry Potter book to crack the 200,000 word mark was the last one, The Deathly Hallows. Much like the life and times of a winning pony and Fallout Equestria, this isn't just a fanfiction anymore, this is an all grown up novel. And in this case, it also reads like one, even with the classic stages: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Well, since the story is so novelesque, I thought to myself, why not bring in someone who has expertise in talking about novels and stuff? And a little bird told me CloudCuckooCountry would be just the one for the job.
G'day, every pony.
Hey, Cloud, see what I did there? A little bird told me, and you are the birdman, huh? Huh?
Oh hush, I'm the one who makes the bad puns around here.
Spoil sport. Anyhow, since you are the esteemed critic and analyst of written literature on YouTube, or at least the only one that I know, you have been summoned here by the power of YouTube crossover to help me review Past Sins.
Oh, no. I don't review fanfiction. I'm strictly only a reviewer of printed hardcopy books.
Actually, Past Sins is a hardcopy book by now.
Is it really? Huh.
Great. So tell me, Birdman, do you like Past Sins?
I consider it to be one of my guilty pleasures, yes. Gosh, why did I start out so smug? This is turning out to be incredibly embarrassing.
Wait, guilty pleasure? Why? What is so guilty-inducing about liking Past Sins? It's a good story. There is no shame in enjoying it.
Oh, but ANY, I possess a stigma against fanfiction. I know it's petty and I should be more open, but I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'm just too pretentious.
Well, time to get over yourself and talk pony fiction, shall we?
So are we done stalling for the entertainment of our viewers?
Absolutely. Let's get this baby rolling. Well, FIMFiction categorizes Past Sins as sad, dark, slice of life, and alternative universe. A rather fitting description if you ask me. While the first half of the book can be described as mainly slice of life, there are constant reminders of a darker plot element that had been introduced in the prelude, until the circumstances change and the overall plot takes a turn for the dark and at the same time more and more sad direction. Usually, alternative universe can be summed up in a what-if sentence. In the case of Past Sins, this sentence would probably be: what if Nightmare Moon gets resurrected as a separate being from Luna, but, and now it gets interesting, something goes wrong and she gets resurrected as a filly. Since this story is not tagged as humor, you can already tell that this circumstance is not played for laughs. At all. On the contrary, her character is more a tragic protagonist.
True. One thing that I particularly enjoyed was an exploration of Nightmare Moon as a character.
Hold it right there! What were those?
What?
When you spoke, random birds appeared out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, that happened.
One thing that I particularly enjoyed was an exploration of Nightmare Moon as a character. Nightmare Moon was only in the actual show for the 2-episode pilot and was considered by most to be the least developed villain in the entire show, at least until season 3.
Hey-o!
Having nothing to her character except harbouring the world's most futile excuse for a 1,000-year-old grudge against her sister who was forced to do wrong against her when she flipped her load over the masses not showing proper appreciation for her precious artwork.
Yeah, I've been there myself with Digi. He did not send me to the moon, but to Reddit. My Luna, I wish he would have sent me to the moon.
True that.
You might imagine that making such an underdeveloped character the star of her own story would be an exercise in futility, but some brony out there was up to the challenge and he did it rather well. PenStroke did what was probably the best thing for Nightmare Moon's character, and that was to treat the 1,000-year-old grudge/megalomania thing as a character dynamic rather than a full, all-encompassing, soul-defining character trait. Does that make sense? I'm not so good with the terminology. Nightmare Moon's counterpart, Nyx, is introduced into the narrative as an archetypical helpless child, but then develops into a fully realised character over the course of Part 1, and PenStroke uses this to give readers the interesting character of Nightmare Moon later on in the story, without simply rewriting the character completely. When Nightmare Moon is introduced into the narrative, PenStroke places heavy focus on the character's internal conflict. The old character of Nightmare Moon, as the self-entitled jealous usurper from the show, clashes with the new character of Nyx, and that's as far as I'll go with that because I wouldn't want to spoil anything. Let's just say that Nyx's and Nightmare Moon's character arc is outstanding, and it's the part of the story that I enjoyed the most.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, what about the story itself? It is interesting, gripping, and has a nice flow. The slice of life parts feel very natural and casual while the reader gets engaged with the characters and their interactions, just as slice of life should be. The darker story elements, on the other hand, keep you tense and wondering how all of that is supposed to work out in the end and if it is going to at all. Huh? Oh great, now birds appear when I am talking as well.
Oh dear, maybe it's contagious.
You mean like some kind of the bird flu? Anyways, most events throughout the story are meaningful, either for the characters to be fleshed out as well as to grow, or for the development of the plot.
Did you just say most events are meaningful, implying that some events were not meaningful? Did you perchance catch some meaningless filler in your reading?
Not completely sure. I can't say for certain that there isn't filler here and there, but there weren't really any parts that were short to read through.
Certainly there were some very cheesy moments, though.
Cheese. I love cheese.
And I would like cheese too, if not for philosophy and morality and all that.
Wait! Why are we talking about food? If this video gets too long, we are going to lose the average YouTuber with short attention span crowd. Quickly, get back on topic!
Where was I?
In case the title Past Sins didn't already give it away for you, the main theme in this novel is redemption, and what I like, whether this was intended by PenStroke or not, is that he adopts a pretty standard three-stage structure surrounding Nightmare Moon's character arc, but he's gone and utilised it as a thematic exploration of character, which shows nicely his brilliant skill as a writer. Quite a lot of other writers include a redemption arc in their stories, but don't really know what to do with it. In Past Sins, the redemption arc feels right at home, and while PenStroke's use of it isn't in any way or form original, he executes the well-worn topic with expert quality and can boast a better use of the theme than Ian McKellen does in Atonement.
Oh, how I hate that novel!
Are you ever going to give this novel some slack?
No.
The redemption arc isn't by any means forced or contrived either, but it ties directly into Nyx's and Nightmare Moon's character development. You get the feeling when reading that the theme exists to serve the character, rather than the character existing to serve the theme, which is a common mistake many other writers tend to make, especially with a theme as effectively explored to death as redemption. Focusing thematically on the character undergoing the redemption is PenStroke's best option, given that he writes the character so well.
Oh boy, does he write Nyx well. It is amazing how you can still recognize the Nyx you got to know within the first part of the novel, even after the circumstances changed so drastically. There is a reason why her character's popularity has outgrown the novel itself. But PenStroke is pretty good in presenting characters in general, I might add. When all the characters from the show get introduced, I recognize them by their behavior, opinions, and way to talk, not just because they shared names and appearances with their canon counterparts. Their portrayal is very accurate and—
Wait, hold on, what? Are you sure?
Yup, you don't think so?
Well, I suppose this is not really directed at past sins, but I find that in all fan fictions that contain dark or adult themes, it's kinda impossible to say that the characters are accurate portrayals of what they are in the show.
Alright, because the show retains a consistent light tone and none of the characters have really been explored in depth in a dark scenario yet. I suppose any dark fanfiction can be called speculative at best with regards to character exploration. Maybe accurate wasn't the best choice of word.
Exactly. I mean, Twilight starts out pretty accurate,
but once she becomes fixated on...
Whoa there! This is spoiler-free territory, remember?
Ah, bugger, sorry.
No biggie, but yeah, from that point of view it is really a bit strange to imagine canon Twilight develop that way. I guess I never became aware of this before, because the characters start out very much like their canon counterparts, with all their quirks and traits, and only slowly transitioning into PenStroke's vision of how they would react in the given situation. Take the Pinkie Pie playing fetch with the guard scene for example. Who read the book will know what I mean.
Oh yes, gotta love me some Pinkie in words.
True story. I guess what helps a lot to make the characters as well as the world around them feel so true to the show is also the fact that PenStroke refers a lot to the show itself, and even provides explanations for phenomena that feel actually compatible with the logic of the show, like what a weight shift is and how it works, how Pinkie is able to hunt down even Rainbow Dash, and why Luna is so much smaller than Celestia. Most of the time, PenStroke does a wonderful job of tying those references and explanations very subtle and smoothly into the narrative. Sadly, sometimes he overshoots a bit. For example, you remember the few seconds in Cutie Mark Chronicles when Twilight enters the Avatar state and turns her parents into plants? Picking up on such a small detail and including it in a meaningful manner in the novel is a cool thing, as long as it is not done 3 times within the scope of 1 chapter.
Too true. We are all very familiar with the show already, and while the occasional nod to the more famous of the MLP tropes are awesome, sometimes they are a bit contrived, like that one scene that harkens back to that old Fluttershy as a tree thing that we had going for a while.
I hear ya. Okay, one more thing we should probably mention about Past Sins is that there are 2 versions of it. Past Sins 1.0 and the revised version. Past Sins was originally written before Season 2 aired. Due to revelations during Season 2, diverse aspects of the novel were no longer compatible with the canon universe. For example, Diamond Tiara's father appears in the story, originally as a rather unlikable OC named Regal Cut, but after Filthy Rich's introduction in Family Appreciation Day, the character of Regal Cut is now incompatible with the canonverse. That's where the revised version comes in. Expansions to the universe like Filthy Rich, Discord, Cadence and Shining Armor, Cerberus and Pee-wee are now included. At least someone gave the letter some attention before DHX forgot about him. Also, some scenes PenStroke had not been satisfied with had been rewritten, but there are also a few more of those less subtle hints towards the canon now. In the end, the revised version is 20,000 words longer. Now, which one should you read?
Well, I'd say if you're only planning on reading this for entertainment's sake, then read version 2.0 as it is the more polished of the 2 versions and ties more closely to updated canon. However, if you want something more out of it, read the unedited version first to see how they compare and perhaps remind yourself of exactly how big the impact of Season 2 actually was on the lore of this universe.
Very good advice. And for those of you who are lazy when it comes to reading but enjoy a good dramatic reading, I can recommend a really good one for each version, and you will never guess who made one of the readings.
Oh, is it perchance Vu de Swanov?
Gah?
You already mentioned him before, like 10 minutes ago, and like a dozen other times in your other video.
Dude, you just stole my punchline!
It is my obligation as a self-righteous hipster comedian to do so.
Well, yes. Vu Svenjos has done an amazing reading of the first half of the original editing and announced just recently that he is definitively going to finish it. The other dramatic reading, the one of the updated draft, would be by Ilya Lenov. He also does a very good job and has actually already finished the story. But I have to admit I prefer Vu's more lively performance.
Well, I'd say that Ilya provides some more dulcet tones fitting for the mood of the narrative. I suppose it boils down to personal taste.
True. In any case, I warmly recommend everybody to check this story out, no matter which version or which medium.
I'd recommend reading it though, because otherwise I'd have to sacrifice my integrity as a book nerd.
Should have guessed so. This is TheANYPony.
And this is Nick, aka The Birdman, from CloudCuckooCountry saying, "Watch out for those credits!
Say what now?
They'll slaughter you all!
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness!
Escort me! Get yourselves out of here!
Run for my life!
It's too late for me!
I don't want to die! I'm too young and beautiful!
Oh no, it's so horrible! I can't feel my legs!
Take him, not me! He tastes like chicken!
Oh, my arms, they've taken them from me!
Oh no, my eyes, I cannot see, I'm blind. Oh, the pain, the suffering.
Dude. Cloud. Yeah. Nick. Credits are kind of over. You can really stop now, you know?